All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to American Hammers TV on Monday night. It is July 22nd. We're not far away. Hey, wait a minute. It's July 22nd. Angela Ogbonna's mother had her birthday today.
Hey.
So did I.
So did... What, Nick, is it your birthday?
It is my birthday today.
Tony, did you hear that?
Happy
It's Nick's
birthday.
birthday.
It's Nick's birthday. Glad we got some balloons here. Oh, is this where? This is birthday. We got some balloons.
Happy birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy
Birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday.
There's somebody's birthday out there, I'm sure. Hey, Nick, happy birthday. And I'm glad to see your mom and dad bought you the Casio watch you've always dreamed of for your birthday.
Yeah, we
Oh,
all.
but I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done. You got more. Nick, Tony, bring it.
Let's go.
All right, so we got a little card for Nick, real quick. Just I'm gonna keep this quick. Since and they always make fun of my accent for not being from the South, but I say y'all. So you're not old. You're just grown up.
Grown up.
My first friend I made from the podcast, TSB, Tony. So expect this in the mail, buddy.
I love it.
What?
Thank you so much, guys.
I'm a little hurt there, Tony. No, that's not fair. We met beforehand. Hang on.
We
I just
met
gotta.
before the podcast.
That is true. And hey, you know what the best part of this podcast is? Hey, I know, Justin, you and I talked. You're thinking about doing something in the spring with American Hammers. Jeremiah going to Vegas.
That's right, baby. Going to Vegas.
Nicholas Stamper going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas. Hey, Tony, where are you going to be while the rest of us are in Vegas or Chicago?
I'm going to be in Brighton at the game, so I'm disappointed to miss out, but I'll be at the game.
Everybody, just, for those of you who are going to Vegas, think very long and hard about Tony. Tony's the man. He's going. All right. We are not far away from starting the season. We finished with the transfers. Pedro Obiang appears to be gone. I'm waiting. I haven't seen an official note from the club yet. Has anybody else seen one?
Have not.
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
So I think it's the least well-kept secret within the English Premiership that Pedro Obiang is going to go somewhere in Italy. Pedro, love your approach to the match. I love your approach to the game. Maybe not the most skilled player we've seen play for West Ham, but in a world where so many people are talking about Arnautovic and all the whining and moaning that went on there, you handled yourself like a professional. Dude, I will always respect what you did. It was really awesome. We're getting ready to see our friend Mr. Hugo go. I had a chat before this webcast started with David Thornton. He said he's had a couple of beverages. He's going to probably go to bed. He is very strongly of the opinion that it's Hugo to Madrid, straight across swap for Gareth Bale. We're hoping that happens. I kind of have my doubts. Tony, what do you think? Tony, Gareth Bale for Jordan Hugo. What do you think?
I mean, I would take that move any day, twice on Sunday. I'm not sure Madrid would. The thing about Hugo for me is I see him get a lot of shtick on Twitter. But in reality, everyone's saying, oh, he's crap, he's crap. If a Premier League comes in for me, and whether I'm quality or not, and they're offering me $35,000 a week or whatever it is, I'm taking that. Whether I ride the bench or don't play a game, this is my career.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just sending out the note. We are live. There, it's on Twitter now. We're up. We're live. There's Charlie Walsh is already on. Cody Barrett, who was on last night from Minnesota. Dude, I really apologize. I'm going to try and listen to you tonight. I've interacted with Cody quite a bit on Twitter. One of the things I love about the social media platform is how much we talked with each other. You're going to probably see another bitch fest about West Ham this week from me and Nick. I may talk about people's visions about social media. I'm not sure yet. There might be some thoughts. Hey, quickly, we just talked about Vegas. Want to throw out some props here? We got Robert Snodgrass. We got him signed. We got Declan Rice. We got him signed. And we got the captain, Mark Noble, signed. I'm waiting to get the one other Pablo Fornals signed kit. Benny Boy, if you're out there, buddy, I haven't heard from you. We're waiting for you to have it shipped to us so we can do it for the Isla's charity. If anybody knows Benny Boy out there in Twitterverse or in Facebook land or in the real world, nudge him. We really want to get that kit because we think that's going to be a huge killer for the Isla charity. All right, here we go. Folks, it is time to get ready for the season. Who's ready for the season start? Jeremiah, you been good for it?
Yeah, dude, I'm ready for it. I think we got a team to do it this year. I know we say that every year, but I think this year's gonna be pretty good. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm pumped.
What are you pumped about? What are you looking forward to, Justin?
I mean, like Jeremiah alluded to, pretty exciting times if you're a fan. I know the last few off seasons, the last few summers have been exciting and maybe haven't met expectations, but we finally got that striker that we've been clamoring for years. So really excited about that. Really excited. I'm not a big jersey guy or kit, as they say, but I'm gonna get a Allaire shirt, and I'm pretty pumped for him, man. I'm really excited to watch him play.
Well, okay, I got a funny story for you. So Nick and I have been having a running joke. Nick and I get on YouTube quite a bit. Nick and I get on tonight. We're wearing the same shirt. So it was a chase to see who got on the different shirt first. Nick, anything you're excited about right now for the season?
First thing that comes to mind is I just can't wait to get up for that early kickoff on the first day.
I'm coming to New York.
I didn't realize, Tony's going to come up. I didn't realize until today that we were scheduled for that. It'll be 7:30 a.m. Eastern time kickoff. So that's, wow, what a great start that'll be. Get the coffee and the beer served at the same time. Other than that, I think Allaire probably is my biggest hype point. I had mentioned before how I've watched quite a bit of Frankfurt this past season. And so seeing him play in that system, I'm really interested to see how he sets up with us. I think just our formation in general. I've mentioned before that we're really packed out in the midfield, and now a little bit light on forwards. I think our back line more or less is figured out unless we sign someone new. So I'm really excited to see that first lineup come out the first day, and see how Pellegrini wants to start the season, especially against a team like Man City. I'm excited to see what that formation looks like.
So I screwed up. I need to hit pause here. Hey, Tony, can you hold up the balloons in the card again? Because I'd clicked on myself. The only person anybody's seen so far until a minute ago was me. You need to hold up the balloons in the card for Nick again.
Oh, okay, yeah. So everybody, we got some balloons here. It's Nick's birthday. Happy birthday. Got some balloons here. I got him a Ye Not Old card. Little, is this Sylvester Sam or something like that? I don't know.
But,
Yosemite Sam, Sam Byram. You know what? Whatever. I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam Byram, yeah.
Wasn't allowed to watch cartoons. So happy birthday to my buddy Nick there. Well, everybody's my buddy, but happy birthday.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Nick, seriously, happy birthday. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter today, but the Londonists celebrated the pub you and I went to before the match last year. Cockpit.
Nice.
Yeah, that was hilarious. All right. We're going to do a bit of a roundtable getting ready for the season. I sent the boys some questions earlier on this week. I'm hoping they got answers ready. I'm going to try and roundtable it, try and manage it. Anybody, if you feel like you need to hop in here. I am watching the chat over here. It's going to be a little hard for me tonight to manage both this and the chat. I'm going to do my best. We'll take a break in a bit, and we'll see how we do. First off, roundtable time. Justin, number one. In Chicago tonight, who is our breakthrough player at West Ham United this year, sir? Go.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Felipe. Even though he had a really good year, especially for his first season in the Premier League, I still think there's room for improvement. And so I think having it be his second year, having him be more comfortable in a new country, speaking a new language, he's going to be with his teammates now a whole year. And I think there's a reason why Pellegrini and Mario were so keen on signing him last summer. I think they see a lot of potential in him, as do I. So I think he's going to have a monster year. As like I said, it's his second year in the Premier League. So I'm going Felipe.
All right, Jeremiah, buddy, up in Fort Collins. Who's your guy?
Like you said, Justin, I'm going to go on the other side of the wing, dude, and go with Yarmolenko. I think last year, an unfortunate break, a bad break for him, and he's a quality player that's played on quality teams in Europe and big competitions. And, man, I just think that he's going to break through, and he's going to have a heck of a season with that left foot, with the way he kind of stutters around other players and kind of presses on. I think he's really going to dominate that right side as long as he can stay healthy. But I do truly think this is going to be his year.
So on that, before I hop to the other two lads, are you afraid of the state of his legs and his knees and his ankles this year?
Well, I mean, what was it, Achilles injury?
Yeah, there was his Achilles, and it was a non-contact injury, which scares me.
Right, and I think that's going to take a lot to come back from. I've never tore it, but I've rolled ankles and rolled that ligament before, and it hurts. So I imagine getting out there and actually trying to kick a football around is going to be tough. But yeah, I think that as long as he can stay healthy and he's aggressive, like you said, he gets into it. So I just think it's going to take time, but I think he's ready, and I think he's going to show it.
All right, Tony, American West Ham podcast. Who is your breakthrough player this year?
It's got to be Jack Wilshere, man. Brand new signing. He is arguably one of the top English players when he's on the field. Now, when he's not on the field is quite often, but, I think he's absolute class. What I like about him is he can sit back and defend, but he can also be instrumental in the attack and move the ball around. So I'm excited to see Jack Wilshere, and I want to see what he has opening day. I'm glad we start against Man City, if I'm honest with you, because I look at it like this. If we start off against Man City and we lose, well, it's like the season didn't even start and we got that game out of the way. We start off with a win against Man City, boom, momentum going into the next game against Brighton away, and we can start off with 6 points. So I'm very excited about City.
I just want to sorry to interrupt, but I actually want to echo Tony's point, because I think if there's any time that you want to play City, it's the first game of the season, because I'm not saying they will be rusty. They probably won't be, and will probably lose. But if they are going to be rusty at any point in time, the beginning of the season is probably the most likely time they will be. So I agree with you on that.
So I want to hop in here, Tony, Gina and David are thrown in with you. This is Wilshere's year to break through. And what Gabe DeLeon is saying, Jack Wheelchair. I'm not buying it this year, Gabe. I understand what you're saying. I understand he's been struggling, but man, he's looked. David says he's looked class in the preseason, and Gina, at least he wears pants. Nick, who you got this year? Who is your guy to break through this year?
So I was tempted to say each of the people everyone else said at a certain point, thinking over this question, but I want to be a little different. I don't want to just, as much as I agree with everybody else, I think maybe it could be a big year for Ryan Fredericks. I think that we have seen. Wow. He obviously had an injury, a bit of an injury issue during the middle part of last season, and in the early part of last season was still sort of locked in as our starter. But I think we saw Ryan Fredericks earlier in the season come back later in the season with a tremendous level of improvement from his earlier performances. Late in the season, he had that goal in the last, I think it was against Southampton, the last home match. I think he has developed pretty impressively as a right back. I definitely think he's our first choice. And I think if he gets a good system going with whoever's lining up on the right wing for us, I think he is sort of growing by leaps and bounds lately since he's been at West Ham.
So Dan Roberts wants to say you've taken his hot take, and Dave Thornton's with you, and Charlie Walsh is also with you. I'm going to go off the board. Manuel Lanzini came back at the end of last year with a busted up knee, and everybody's hating on him, and we all know, and Cody Barrett just signed in with me as well from Minneapolis. Lanzini is going to be a revelation this year. He's in a contract issue. He's had a tough injury. Everybody's doubting him to come through. I think Manuel Lanzini becomes the engine that drives us forward. Not scoring goals, not doing assists, but carrying the ball and setting up everything else. Our play last year, if you take a really good look at it, a lot of our play started with Diop getting the ball and pushing it forward. I think that doesn't happen this year. I think Manuel Lanzini gets the ball and he makes things happen. We are going to be so much better because of him. Now, we could have all the contract issues in the world. We could have all the injury issues in the world. But my gut feeling right now, Manuel Lanzini is a revelation. We finally see the player that he could have been.
Now, Scott, just to jump in there, I think to your point, Declan, as good as he was last year, I think has even gotten better in his time playing with England at picking up the ball off the back four, passing the lines. I think his ability to, as he gets better and better, as we've seen him get better and better, his increase in capacity carries a lot of weight that allows someone like Lanzini or Fornals or Wilshere, whoever it might be playing in that midfield, to be able to play that role you're describing. So I saw somebody in the chat was saying that they don't think Lanzini might start. I think our midfield is pretty crowded, but assuming Lanzini gets in that midfield, I think you got a really good shout there, Scott.
So, yeah, and I appreciate that. And for me, it was really hard to choose between Lanzini, who's coming back, and watching Declan Rice, who is this kid who was a revelation last year, not just for us, not just for our coach and management, but for the league to go, holy crap, this kid is so good. He made England. Not bad for a kid that age. We got other people saying Chicha could do a good solid season. I think if we don't sign another striker, Chicha sticks around all year. He has a great solid year. All right.
Can I pop back in on Lanzini real quick?
No, you can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Here's the thing with Lanzini, and I'm going to half agree here, because if there's a time for Lanzini to step up, it's now. Because I thought Lanzini was an incredible player when he was playing with Dimitri Payet, because Dimitri Payet was able to draw defenders off of him, and whenever two people would team up on Dimi, it really opened a lot of space for Lanzini to work. So for me, Lanzini, a lot of his struggles the last 2 seasons came without having another key player to take people off of him. So when he was the one who was getting double teamed, we would say, oh, Lanzini didn't get a chance with the ball, or he's been poor, he's not quick. Well, it's because he's getting swarmed, and we don't have another killer player. So I think with the addition of Pablo and with Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko being back, I really think it's time for Lanzini to put up or shut up, and I really hope he puts up.
And in the chat down here, dude, you're getting so many thumbs up. Dude, I think you've exactly hit it up. Midfield's really, really crowded this year. I'm going to go off the board a little bit here. I sent a late question out to you guys. We've all watched parts, or at least listened to what happened in the midfield during the preseason, and there's one constant name that comes up, and it's not coming up well. It's Sanchez. Sanchez has been awful. Somebody sent me a question this afternoon. With how bad Sanchez has been, should we keep Oxford? Anyone?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Yes. Nick's shaking his head.
No.
Justin?
No, I'm going to go. What's Justin?
Justin?
I mean, I think we should sell him.
Okay.
Ugh.
Even though Sanchez has been absolute trash.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, you guys all just missed the dirty Sanchez comment. Anyways.
Yeah, definitely went over my head. No, absolutely. Oxford's got to go. I don't. I was saying that he could be a game changer, but at the same time, I'm not sure if he hasn't broken into Reading, and he hasn't really played all that much with, was it Arsberg? I don't know what the German team is. Or
Gladbach.
Bach. I mean, he played for them a little bit, but if he really hasn't broken into those teams, what makes everyone think that he's going to break into our side?
So what do we do then? Josh Cullen has not been well respected through the preseason. Do we keep Cullen, sell Oxford? I mean, we're about to watch Pedro Obiang walk out the door. What do we do?
God, I think that Obiang sale could be maybe the turning point of the summer if we replace him with someone more capable. I heard this rumor earlier from a friend of mine who's an Arsenal supporter that maybe we were poking around El Neni as a midfield replacement. I'm not sure entirely how I feel about that, but I think in the general concept of losing or picking up somebody that's got a little more experience and maybe a little younger. I forget how old Obiang is, but I think if we can replace Obiang with someone that's a substantive improvement on Obiang, I think the Sanchez-Oxford issue becomes a non-issue.
Okay. Anyone else want to throw in on Oxford?
Yeah, I think I was the only one that said yes. I'm going to go with a solid. I'm going to go with a solid yes. Everyone's forgetting the common name that we've kind of been dropping out is Pellegrini. I think if Pellegrini can get a hold of this guy, shake him up a bit and figure it out, I think that he might turn it around. You guys saw last year he got rid of his agent. He got rid of that negativity. I kind of trust in it. I mean, I think maybe more so I'm just kind of wishful thinking and hoping that, Oxford can figure it out. He had those couple good 2-3 matches, back in like 2015, 16 season, something like that. But man, I think if he can really just figure it out, he can get it going.
So Gabe DeLeon says, I'd like to see us keep Cullen, but he will probably sell him off. My feeling on Cullen is, and it's ridiculous to say this about a guy who's 23 years old. Like my wife and I are going to celebrate our 30th anniversary in about a week and a half here. He's 23 years old. I think he's too old. He hasn't shown enough. He's been captain and for the under-23s. He's played. This is Oxford. He's been captaining the under-23s and he's played well. better than he did last year. But Cullen, for me, just hasn't shown up. So, guys, I'm going to make a statement here. Oxford, you could have been much like Ravel Morrison, who's over at Sheffield now, right? Could have been. So much could have been. So much potential, so much talent. Head got in the way. Cullen is the opposite. His head's in the right place. His skills and his talents just aren't there. I think both of them go away. Dan Roberts is asking thoughts about Coventry being a post-January transfer window squad player. I think Coventry makes it. And I even though he didn't play this year, I think Nathan Holland didn't play in the preseason. I think Nathan Holland sticks around.
Y'all, who's that other? Is it Joe Powell? Isn't there? It was a Powell that was.
Yeah, it's Powell.
Powell.
Played against Macclesfield in the squad that we had a bunch of youngsters playing in the cup. I forget how young all those guys are. I remember seeing a lot of stuff with Declan sort of taking them under his wing. And I mean, Declan obviously is still only 20 years old as of February. But if the likes of Holland and Powell and Coventry are, still a couple years behind him, that seems like a pretty decent timeline for them to still have time to develop in the under 23s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not even talking about Marcus Brown.
He's gone. He's gone. They let him go.
Yeah, I mean, he played well for Oxford. So, I mean, he was on loan when I was living there. So I knew a little bit of Marcus Brown. But, I think he was a disappointment for me. But I did see on Twitter that if he was to go, we would get a nice chunk of change for him for someone who, according to everybody else, wouldn't make it into the side. I guess I missed that he's gone. That's a little disappointing to me, y'all, seeing that live reaction. I'm a little
sorry.
upset right now.
David Thornton's correcting me. Brown has not yet left, but he's been told he can leave. And also, Holland is not confirmed yet. Reports are that he's been told to find a loan for a year in the championship. For me, that's a bit disappointing. Nathan Holland to me is the follow-on to Declan Rice coming out of our academy. All right, I need to hop on here because otherwise we'll be stuck on question 3 until sometime tomorrow morning, and I think some of us have to go to work. All right, guys, crystal ball. All right, everybody got the crystal ball in the hand?
Oh.
First 3 months of the season, what happens to West Ham, and what does a Premiership League look like? Jeremiah, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think you said first 3 months, Scott. I think that I think this is going to sound crazy. I think we're going to be top 6 after the first 3 months. Normally, I think we kind of have a rough go of it, a rough start, if you will, or mediocre start. But I think we're going to kind of come out. I mean, like Tony, you said, starting out against Man City, it's either good or it's whatever. We'll play again next week, and I think that it's going to be a big start for us. I think that we're going to get opportunity in the first 3 months to really showcase. I do think at some point in time we're going to slip and we're going to kind of slide down the table a little bit, but I think within the first 3 months, I look at us being top 6. I think the other ones are going to be there, but the team that I really see kind of slipping out of the top 6 is maybe Chelsea. I know that seems a little bit, whatever, typical of everyone else is saying it, but I kind of see that happening, and I think that we will kind of find a way to get in there. I think Wolves are going to be another tough one that's going to be up in there in the top 6, 7 range. So I think a lot like last season, how we've had those opportunities to get up into the top 6 or 7 and we kind of failed. I think this year we're going to kind of go for it. So yeah, after 3 weeks, top 6.
You're not alone. We got David Thornton saying that we'll be in 5th. Tebow is saying we're in the top 6. Mississippi Hammers, dude, Cody, I think you're right. Wolves are going to be scary. David Thornton, Man United, Solskjaer sacked by Christmas. All right. Nick, where you at, buddy? What do you think? First 3 months of the season. Put your crystal ball in play.
So I'm looking at our fixture list right now, and it does look good. Honestly, I have a hard time disagreeing with Jeremiah. I'm an optimist, but I try to not be, too out there. But looking at the fixture list, Man City first, and Tony made a really great point that now could be a good time to hit Man City. And then after that, it's a lot of teams that are either new to the Premier League or we've beaten comfortably before, or Manchester United is probably the next big name after Manchester City, and we beat them in the fall last year. And I'm not – if there's any team with Chelsea that is sort of in a bit of a tumultuous period, I think United has been dealing with that for a bit now. And so by the end of October, the quote unquote, big top 6 clubs that we've only played 2 of them, which feels like foreign territory compared to last season where we played pretty much all of them in that same stretch. So, by the end of October, I don't see why we can't be hovering around 6. I think if I had to pick a place, I'd go with 6. I think it's possible that we are up there around Wolves in that 6-7 spot. And I think one of those top 6 teams will struggle through that first stretch. And so I would not be shocked if West Ham was in the top 6 or 7 by the end of October.
Well, it's interesting you say that. By the way, Nick, Gina has told you and me that we have to wear pajama pants to Man U at home, and they have to be pink, just so you know. All right? So we're going to fit in the Bobby Moore lore really well. Tony, 3 months in. It's now early, mid-November. What's West Ham doing? What's the Premiership doing?
I feel like kind of like a jerk right now because when Jeremiah started going on about saying that we're going to be 6th, then we could have a really good start. I was shaking my head just because being a West Ham fan, I'm like, yeah, okay. I relooked at the fixtures, right? There's not one team on here that I am concerned about until 11:23, which is against Spurs. Every team on here is beatable, including Man United. That game is at home, and they're in disarray. I'm not saying we're going to win, but I think every team on here is winnable. We start off at City, which is tough. I don't think that's a win. But after that, every game is winnable.
Well, hang on. It was there because last week I asked Jeremiah, who's our first win of the season? And I said Brighton. And Jeremiah, who did you say?
Man City, baby.
All right. I just want to let you know there's some believers out there, Tony. Keep going.
I don't think we beat Man City. I hope we do. I always root for West Ham, but I don't think we do. I think every single game up into Spurs, and even including that game, is winnable. I'm not scared of any team. Now it's getting the job done that I'm concerned about. But on paper and capability, and of actually getting the job done if we can, every team on there is beatable.
All right.
So but you had to give me. If I had to give a space, I'm still gonna say 7th or 6th. But
Okay.
I think every game is winnable.
There's a lot of people talking about how Wolves is going to be really distracted by Europa. And personally, I think Arsenal really struggles this year.
Yep.
There's a lot of people think City struggles this year, or Man United struggles this year. And we all know the trouble that Chelsea's in front of. And listen, again, I'm a big fan of Frank, but I just think he's in over his head. It's really tough now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who else have I got left here? Nick or Justin? Who have I missed?
Me.
Justin, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, so I picked 8th place after 3 months. We do have a favorable schedule on paper. Only place City and United from the top 6, and United's been struggling. But I mean, how many times have we looked at a stretch of fixtures and we see teams that we think we should beat, and then we lose, like 2-0 to Cardiff last year. I mean, it happens all the time. So I definitely think we're a better side, and therefore we will have some victories from those first 3 months. But would be shocked if we don't have a couple flops where we think we'd win and we don't, and we actually lose. So I'm going to go with 8th. I'm going to stick with 8th.
So here's the other question we ask, because this keeps on coming up. So pretty much everybody thinks one of the top 6 is going to fall down. If it's not going to be us who slips in the top 6, you get one team, and you get to tell me it. Just no description, no rationalization. If there's one team, and it's not West Ham, who slides into the top 6, who it is? Tony.
Everton.
Jeremiah.
Wolves.
Justin.
Wolves.
Nick.
Wolves.
Leicester for me. Leicester is the team. Yep, and Charlie and David are with me. By the way, Tony, I got to tell you, people are loving the shirt. Nick, you're getting some hugs online on that shirt, buddy. We got to take a collection up here. Justin, buddy, you're kind of letting us down. We got to get those egg hits.
Yeah. I'm not a big kit guy. Never have been for any sport. I actually just did order a Allaire third, the third kit jersey. So I'll be
Everybody.
repping.
Everybody in the
Okay.
internet. Everybody.
So over
I have
the beer.
an Iowa ping pong. If anyone's a ping pong fan.
Justin.
Mexico State.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not an Iowa fan, so I don't really care. Yeah.
I was having a chat with Tony and Nick and some other guys. We got a group chat going here about what we have for shirts and stuff. I grew up in Northern Canada. I've got something like 35 or 40, maybe even close to 50 NHL jerseys out there. So I mean,
Are you an Oilers fan or a Flames fan? Or?
I'm a Penguins and a Canucks fan.
Yes,
Fan.
Penguins.
Yeah. And Tony hates the Penguins.
Hey, so baby.
And I can't stand the Oilers, and I can't stand the Flames. All right, guys, I'm going to take a break here for a second. We're going to take a look who's in the chat right now. We're going to take a look at the participants. We're doing well. We got Cody from Mississippi Hammers. We got Gina Lotte. Gina, hey, someday we got to get you on here talking about cupcakes, honey, because you're awesome. Oh, yeah. Listen, Jeremiah.
I'm a larger fella, so, give me some cupcakes, you know what I'm saying?
This Jeremiah and I have Mile High City Hammers because of Gina and Charlie and Ben and everybody else who jumped in there. They're great people. We got Gabe, who's on every time. David Thornton's on. Dan Roberts. Hey, Jeremiah, do you know? No, you don't know Dan Roberts, but Nick, you might have met Dan Roberts somewhere. Is he hiding in your apartment somewhere?
He is not here, actually. I actually met Dan a year ago today at an ILO event at NYC Hammers at Smithfield Hall.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm screwing up. I got Mississippi Hammers on, and I got Cody Barrett on here. I got two people on here, and Charlie Walsh, and I've seen John Black is on here, and Charlie's thrilled for the cupcakes. That's awesome to hear. Hey, I'm going to throw it here. Mississippi. Not Cody. Mississippi is Mississippi Hammers. Cody is Minneapolis St. Paul Hammers. I am really sorry, guys. My bad. And Cupcake Jack, let's go. Charlie Walsh. Charlie, for the last game of the season, you coming over to Denver, I think Gina can make you some cupcakes. Gina, if you're down with that, let us know. All right. Dan Roberts, 1 year West Ham anniversary. All right, guys. We're going to switch gears now. We're going to actually get back to the questions I said to you. This is one of those times when I think, do I have enough questions? I finished question 3. I've got 9 more. So we're not going to get through tonight. All right, guys. Jeremiah, who's your guy this year? Who's the guy who leads West Ham forward this year?
Dude, the guy has got to be – it was somebody's breakout player. I can't remember who, but the guy has to be Felipe Anderson. I think that so far through the preseason, we've seen it a little bit already. We've seen it last year, whether it's on free kicks, whether it's just kind of controlling the ball, moving it forward. The dude's always on. I kind of slighted him a little bit last season at the very beginning when he wouldn't play defense, when he was always kind of getting tripped up, I guess is what we would say. And yeah, dude, I think he's really turned it on to the point where I think now this year he's going to be the guy with the guys in the midfield, Lanzini, Wilshire, Fornals, whoever that is, the guys up front, whether that's Cheech, whether that's Allaire, if I'm saying that right, and anybody else, dude. I think that Felipe Anderson is going to be the guy.
And there ain't too many people I can disagree with you on that one. Tony, who is the guy at West Ham United? It used to be Payet. Then for a while it was Arnautovic. Who's the guy? And I don't mean the guy who's going to cause the problem, but who's the guy who's going to lead us? Go, lad.
Okay, so I'm trying to think outside the box because we can all say the same thing over and over again, and it'd be really boring content. And then there's one guy who really stuck out to me last season that we never talk about, Fabianski. He needs to be the same guy that he was last season again this season. Without that, I think that he saved us how many points last season? In some incredible games. So for me, the guy, everybody else can play well, but if we're going to attack so much, I just have a nasty feeling we're going to get countered so many games, and we're going to need that defense and Fabianski to be strong. So if there needs to be one guy that needs to be the guy all season, every game, because you can't take him out if he's bad. You can give Anderson a break. All these other guys can get a break. If there's one guy that needs to be the guy, it's got to be Fabianski.
Dude, a lot of respect for that. And a lot of people are kind of like, hey, that's not a bad idea. We're also getting Balbuena. John from Vegas, a little gassy. He's got Balbuena. Nick, who's the guy who's going to lead us out?
I like the shouts so far. Tony, I think Fabianski is one of those players. I think goalkeepers in general, it's better when we don't talk about them. That probably means they're doing their job well. And I think Fabianski, I love the guy to death. I joke often at Smithfield when he makes a save that I'm going to name my first child after him. Haven't figured out how to swing that one yet, but hopefully I have time to think about it.
He's not Balkan, though, so you got to come up with some Balkan.
Point, yeah. I think I'm going to go with Jeremiah. There's a word in Brazilian, craque, which is it's the word they use for their star player, the guy that the team wouldn't be the same without, that star player, that ace. And I think Felipe's got it in his veins. I think he we've heard it already tonight. Jeremiah just pointed it out. I think he is ready to do it. And I think he's that flair. He's that person. Granted, he was only 2 goals behind being our leading scorer this past year.
That's not hard.
Behind Arnie by 2 goals.
Okay, how about this? How many goals were our leading scorer? Keep that in mind. We'll get to it later. Keep going.
I was tempted to also say Allaire is a breakthrough player. I think he has first season potential that a lot of players don't have, especially if he gets enough service. But Felipe has shown us, even when he scored 8 goals last year, he showed us in those 8 goals almost everything in his wheelhouse, what he's able to do. He get that goal against Palace that he curled from the top of the box. Maybe my favorite goal of the season. Unreasonable curl he put on that ball. The counter-attacking goal, both goals against Southampton away, that counter-attacking goal to take the lead. Incredible goal. Felipe has scored very few goals that aren't absolutely breathtaking. And I think as he grows in confidence in this league, and I think as Pellegrini helps coach him up to a level where he feels good about taking control of play a little bit, I think you're only going to see more of that. And so I think this year it's going to be Felipe.
Justin, your turn. Go, buddy.
Yeah, I agree with the guys. That's why I said to the first question, Felipe as well. I think Felipe's got to be the guy. He's no longer a record signing, but I'm not going to put that. I'm not going to put the mantle, or I guess I'm not going to put the guy position on Haller right now, just because it is his first year in the league, and we all do know it takes usually a year to transition to the Premier League. For me, it's Felipe, and I think Jeremiah touched upon this, Nick too, possibly. I just think he makes everyone else better around him. He has that capability, and so when he's on his game, I think you'll see Fornals be a phenomenal player. Everyone will get better around him. Haller, Lanzini, Yarmolenko. So he's got to be the guy for me. He's got to take that next step because he has the potential to be to really lead our team to some great things. So for me, it's Felipe.
All right. So I asked it briefly in the intro. You've had 15 seconds. You haven't thought about it yet. Tony, who's our leading scorer this year?
Who's our leading scorer? Oh, give me Anderson with 9. I don't think we have a 2-digit player.
Wow.
Nick, who's our leading scorer?
Wow, I think Allaire.
All right, Justin.
Yeah, I got Allaire. I predicted him to get 14 goals this year. Allaire.
Jeremiah.
It's pretty crazy to go from one end to the other. You got Tony being kind of negative over there. I need you to cheer up a little bit. I need you to cheer up a little bit in Pennsylvania, brother. And
no, it's positive. It spreads off a lot of people. Fornals, Lanzini, Allaire, Yarmolenko. I think it's spread.
Dude, I agree with Felipe. I think Felipe, once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record to bring him up a bunch tonight. But I think Felipe is going to break through. He's going to get 13.
All right. 13 points. Wow. Now, Charlie Walsh thinks Anderson 12. Thibaut thinks Allaire with 15. Cody Barrett, shocking from Tony. If we get a top score with 9, will we be in the bottom half from David Thornton? David Thornton actually says Allaire, the baller, with 20 goals.
Oh,
I'm going to disagree with all of you. Michael Antonio is going to get 15 goals this year, and he's going to lead the team in scoring. There we go.
What?
Mikhail Antonio is going to be amazing. He is going to be the garbage man coming in from the right side. He's going to learn to stop hitting the ball into this rosette, and he's going to be amazing.
Dude, Scott, are they going to make the nets bigger? Are they going to make
Much taller. All right.
I'm going to make a comment real quick on who's it? Dave said that if we have somebody score 9 goals, we'll finish in the bottom half.
Yep.
All right. So this year we were 1 off. Marko Nautovic only scored 10, and we finished 10th.
Okay.
So
how about this? Neil says big call, and Charlie Walsh thinks I'm crazy, and Dan Roberts wants to know how many balls reached row 2. I can't understand that, but that's okay. I got to change gears. I'm going to skip a couple questions, and if we get a chance to get back to them, I will, because there's a couple of questions the club needs to ask. Mark Noble has been our captain, and listen, anybody who knows me knows that I was really down on Mark Nobles for a couple of years. Baz Cox has been all over my backside for like 2 years, private DMing me going, "You're an idiot." Thanks, Mark. How many games does Mark Noble start this year? Nick, how many games does he start? Premiership only.
Well, we know it's tough to put a number on it. I think you're underestimating him, Scott. I think he could start upwards of 25.
25 games. Mark
Yeah.
Noble starts 25 games.
Yeah.
Justin?
Oh,
No. You don't get to justify. You just get to say.
yeah. It's hard to put a number on it. Nick's right. I do think that there'll be some injuries because it's West Ham, so he'll get some starts, and so I'm trying to take that into account. I also think he's just going to have a good season. I do think that people are a bit harsh on him, so I'll give you a number. I'll say he'll start 17 games in the Premier League this year. He'll play in more. He'll start 17.
Jeremiah, how many games does the captain start?
The dude's going to play in a bunch. I am not like you. I'm like Baz. I love Mark Noble. Mark Noble, when Mark Noble plays, West Ham wins. You guys got to know that. But I kind of am going to go just a little bit below you, Justin. I'm going to say 15. I think he actually starts 15. He's going to play in a lot more. You're going to see him play, I think, in almost every match or close to every match.
The question was starting. Justin, by the way, I'm getting 15. Public complaints. If you don't untangle your headphones, people are going to go buy you a new set, buddy.
Is it bothering people?
I think get on the AirPods, bro.
I think there's a bunch of anal retentive people out here who are really bothered by it. Leave them. It's best. All right.
No, I don't want to bother anyone.
No, it's better that way. Tony, how many games does the captain Mark Noble start this year?
How many does he start? I think he starts majority of away games where you need that focus and you need that that heart. And I think he starts half the away games. So let's see, home games. So 17, 8. So I'll say 25.
Okay.
My math is way off, but I'm going to say 25. It's good enough.
The chat stands with Justin untangling his headphones. The chat stands with you, Justin.
Well, now that you mentioned it, it was going to bother me, so I had to undo them now.
That's good. All right. So, as a person who's hashed on Mark for a really, really long time, Mark Noble starts half of our games this year. Starts. Now, gentlemen, and I'm going to start from this end. Nick, when Mark Noble doesn't start, who's the captain? Go.
I think. Well, so who have we seen fill in?
No.
Oh, you told me to go. Oh, God.
Go.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm gonna go. It's hard. I mean, Declan's so young. He's only 20. Oh God. Antonio.
Antonio. Okay. Justin. Mark doesn't start. Who's the captain?
Declan Rice.
Tony, Mark doesn't start. Who's the captain?
If Zabaleta's starting, it's Zabaleta. If it's not Zabaleta, it's Balbuena.
Justin, Mark Noble doesn't start. Who's the captain?
No, I already answered Declan
I'm
Rice.
gonna help you out there, Scott.
Sorry, Jeremiah. Sorry
for myself there.
It's the J names.
It's the
Yeah, you Americans, you all look the same to me.
Yeah, we're all weird. Yeah. Balbuena. I'm gonna go with Tony on that one. Balbuena.
All right. I'm going to disagree with a whole bunch of people and agree with a whole bunch of people. Declan Rice is our captain. It's time for him to get the armband.
Yeah.
John Black, I hear you. He's a kid. We made that mistake. That's why he doesn't captain every match.
Does anyone know who Matthias Delict is?
Delight? Yeah.
Or is it Delight? Is it Delight?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kid was 19. I mean, I don't think age really matters at this point. If he's going to be our future captain, put the damn armband on him if Noble's not playing.
Was Diop the captain of Toulouse?
Yes, he was, sir. That's exactly where I was about to go. Diop was the captain of Toulouse. Now, I'm going to be upfront. I see the French League and the EPL quite differently. But if anybody is ready for it, and Nick, if anybody's ready to lead, not just in terms of skill and ability, but pure danceability, who is it?
Gotta be Declan.
All right, John Black thinks I'm an idiot, and John, I understand. I understand your concerns. Sidney Crosby, NHL, was far too young to be a captain, but he managed it.
Jonathan Taves, 19 years
John
old.
Taves, yeah, absolutely.
I will own up to the fact that I did predict that Declan would be our captain, not this season, but the next season. So if it starts intermittently this season, I guess that wouldn't shock me. I think that's part of what might keep him around longer than some people expect him to. So I wouldn't hate it.
How does being captain hurt a player? That's a question from Alex from Mississippi Hammers. It's a lot of pressure for a young kid. And and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it at that because I've got 13 minutes and 45 more questions that I haven't told you guys about. Jeremiah, where is West Ham United going to finish in the table?
West Ham, we are going to finish 7th. I think we're going to finish right outside the top 6. I hope that we make a super long, crazy run into the FA Cup or the other cup. But I think that realistically, we're going to finish 7th. I think something's going to happen, like everyone's been talking about with Everton, with Wolves, Leicester, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of crazy, Scott. But I think that those other 2-3 teams are going to get in there. Something's going to happen. The 7th place is a very awesome one, and I'm surprised. I'm waiting to see what you have to say.
Wow. John Black, if you're in earnest about that, I want you to type that again. If you think you're honest about that, okay. John Black, Las Vegas, West Ham. For the lads are going to be there. John Black is calling it. West Ham United finishes 3rd. That's confidence. Nick, Jeremiah, I'm with you. Nick, where do we finish?
I'm going to say 7th as well. I'll ask John again when we finish halftime in Vegas against Brighton 0-0 at halftime. I'll ask him how he feels about 3rd place. I'm gonna go 7th. I think that crowd around 7th that we've known for a while now. I think we have the ability to come out on top of that. We were in it the past season. We had 5 opportunities to go 7th this past season, and several other games that were maybe not on that edge but should have gone our way. I won't start the whole conversation on VAR coming into the Premier League yet, but that's going to change some things. Who knows, for the better or for worse. I think if we were that close to 7th this year, there's no reason we can't get 7th next year.
If you guys can see the chat right now, there's a lot of people going, wow, that's brave, and they're really excited about it. Tony,
8th.
West Ham United, the club that you and I love, where do they finish?
8th or 9th.
Wow.
Yeah. No, please. I want us to do better than that.
Go. No, dude, explain that. Because
I see the top 3 is a lock: City, Liverpool, and Spurs. Hate to say it. I see Arsenal finish 4th, even though they're a mess. I see United finishing 5th, even though they're a mess. I see Everton 6, Chelsea 7, West Ham 8. That's what I see.
All right, Justin, your turn.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth between 7th and 8th. I'm going to stick with 8th. I'm going to agree with Tony on this one. I think if you look at the teams outside the Big Six that are challenging for Europe, it's us, Leicester, Wolves, and Everton. So that means if we're 8th, assuming that we finish below all of the Big Six, which I think will happen, if we're 8th, that means that we are only beaten by one of those 3 teams, Leicester, Everton, and Wolves. So if that's the case, I think that's a pretty successful season. I still think that we're a few players away from really challenging with the big boys consistently, at least over a 38-match season. So I'm going to go 8th with a nice little cup run in there. Hopefully semifinals of one of the cups. If we do that, get at least 57-ish points, I think that'll be a good season.
Absolutely.
Wow. I have to unclick several comments in the chat room because there's some wording. I said 3 months ago that we would finish in the top 6, and I'm staying with that. Do I think we'll finish top 4? No. I think 5 or 6 is possible. I think that Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea are all in trouble this year. That's going to allow 2 other teams to step up. I think it's us, and I think it's Leicester. I think Everton steps back. I think Wolves step back. And I'm okay. And listen, everybody who's out there knows I'm okay with being wrong. All right, boys, with 8 minutes left, what are if you could say 2 things about West Ham going into this year, what are they going to be? Guys, I know this is a question to throw you. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to talk. The 2 things I'm thinking going into this year are consistency and team. I think it's the year for us to show some consistency going into every match and win the matches we should win and compete in the matches we should compete in. I think Pellegrini makes our club finally fight its way through the silliness. I don't know how many people know this. I was at Cardiff last year. That was a horrible, horrible experience. I took 2 of my best friends ever to their first football match ever. I had 3 away tickets. I might as well just donated my money to the Salvation Army. It was a terrible, terrible day. That stops this year. And I think it's team. There's a lot more people, specifically Nick, Tony, and I think Jeremiah, you and I've talked a bit. It's a much, much deeper midfield. There's a lot more competition for that. Look, as much as I hate to say it, Wilshire's going to get a nick. Lanzini's going to get a nick. Fornell's going to get a nick. Anderson's going to get a nick. But they all won't line up. And there's other people ready to fit in if a couple of them get a nick. We're going to be okay this year. The first time I ever watched West Ham United, the core thing I thought was the forwards weren't bad, the defense wasn't bad, we had no midfield. This is a year where I go, we have midfield. All right, I'm going to start from my right. Nick, the birthday boy, happy birthday. What are the 2 things that you think? Yeah. Thank you, Tony. I love you, man. You should be in Vegas with us. Nick, what are the 2 things you're thinking about West Ham going into this year?
I think the first thing is going to be I'm not going to say consistency in the same sense. I'm going to say stability in the first 11. I think this year, after we had a lot of new signings last season, several new signings this summer, I think what I'm looking for is for us to get a bit more cemented of the first 11 of Pellegrini knowing who his best team is, knowing what we're going to look like going into each game. I think we're going to see, I hope that we will be less surprised week in, week out with the starting 11 when it comes out. The other thing I'm going to say, finishing. Issue we had early last season that got better over the course of the season was we had a ton of chances and we weren't finishing enough of them, and we would end up having a ton of shots on goal or maybe not even a shot on goal until late in the second half, and we weren't doing a good job finishing in the final third. I think that coming from our improved midfield, I think that where that rubber meets the road is going to be the final third and whether we can produce goals in the final third.
Nick, I really appreciate that. All right, Justin, 2 thoughts going into the season. What are they for you for West Ham United?
Sure. So I think the first thing sort of reflects what you were saying about consistency. I'll call it not playing down to our competition.
Boom.
When you have a team like that Cardiff game where they just out punched us, or you know what I mean? Like they don't have the talent that we had. They were just super physical, got in our face, sort of like Wimbledon did as well when we lost to them. And our guys just can't take a punch figuratively, or they can't punch back figuratively. So not playing down to those lesser talented teams and actually being able to out-physical or at least be as physical as those teams, because we can out-talent some of them if we just work as hard and be as physical as those quote-unquote lesser teams. So that's the first thing, not playing down to the competition. And then in terms of actual players on the field, the fullback play, I'm interested to see how that's going to shape out. I think those are the positions that have the most questions surrounding them. I think for the first time, like you said, the midfield is pretty short up. We finally have that striker. Our wings are looking good, and our center back pairing, Diop and Balbuena, looks to be a solid center back pairing. Will Frederick stay healthy? Will he perform consistently? And then who's going to step up, Masuaku or Cresswell? Who's going to actually take that position by the horns and actually keep it and play well? Because neither of those guys have played consistently well over the last couple of years. So will Ben Johnson, my boy, will he be given his chance and step up and shine? Because I think he's the next youngster to come through. So not playing down to the competition and fullback play, and hopefully we get some consistent play out of those positions.
Dude, I'm so happy you brought up Ben Johnson. I
brought him up probably every single time we've spoken.
I know, and you know what? You've sold me on him. Jeremiah, just do this for a second. I don't think Arthur or Cresswell finished the season with West Ham United.
You think both of them get sold?
You don't think either of them?
I think both of them are gone by Christmas. All right, Jeremiah, not to throw you under the bus or anything. What are your 2 thoughts going into West Ham this year?
2 thoughts. I think the first thought is chemistry. I think that the majority of the team has had the chemistry, but there's always been 1 or 2 guys that have been out playing in the team or whatever that haven't had it. I think that chemistry is finally there. You can tell by their comments, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, if it's the club account, when they're actually interviewing the players. I think the chemistry is there. Number 1, I think that's key. Number 2, positivity. I think a lot of times with West Ham, whether it's players, it's the fans, it's whatever it is, I think that positivity is going to actually be there this year. Whether it's because it's year 2 of Pellegrini, a lot of the players are finally in and they believe on it. Most, if not all of the negativity is gone that we can tell. And hopefully, knock on some fake wood that, somebody doesn't show back up that's going to be negative. But I think that negativity is gone. So I think that both of them kind of go with each other with the positivity and the chemistry, but that's going to be key.
Wow. All right. Thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. Tony, take us home, buddy. 2 thoughts going out the door.
All right. So first thought is my question for anybody who's thinking that we're hitting top 7 is I want to know why everybody thinks it's so easy. And it's not like in a non-disrespectful way. We struggled so many games where we had a chance to knock on the door for 7. At least 5 or 6 opportunities this season, maybe 7. So I think we improved the squad, but so have as many other teams, and we need to have that winning mentality. So my first thing to take us out is not really consistency, but just having we say this big club mentality. Well, let's just win some games. I'm not worried about big club mentality. We can lose to all the big clubs. We can lose all 12 games to the top 6 if we win the games we're supposed to. And that's that I don't even have a second thing. That's the only thing I want to say is we need to start winning the games we're supposed to. If we lose the ones that we don't need to win, then that's fine. Let's see, 6 times 2 is 12 minus 38 is There's 26 other games that we could win. Win those 26 and you're fine. You're not going to win all 26, I know that. But I'm saying is win the games you're supposed to or put up a fight you're supposed to. For example, your Cardiff game or the Wolves game or the Bournemouth game.
78 points, Tony.
Or the game that we came back against Huddersfield or the game we came back against Palace. Win the games you're supposed to and we'll be fine all season.
Tony, I appreciate that. But because you didn't do 2 points, I'm sorry. We can never have you back on the webcast again. I'm sorry. All right. So this is my chance to close up tonight. I'm going to let you guys have a chance to chat. Number one, there are so many people in the chat tonight. Guys, if I didn't give you a shout out, I apologize. I tried, Charlie, Tebow, Alex, David, all of you. You guys are amazing. Thanks for jumping on. My 2 thoughts this year are win-win and win-win. Tony, I think I'm with you. I think that we got to win the games we should win. And I think we got to compete in the games we should compete in. There's nothing you guys said tonight that I can't agree with at some level. I think that it's time for West Ham to step out away from the pack of the middle. I'm really tired of us being thrown in with a pack of they play in the Premiership too. This is my club. I love it. I want to see them win. I want to see them win every bloody game. Now, Tony, you're right. We're not going to win every bloody game. We're not going to win against the top 6 every time. But I want to beat 12 through 20 every match this season. I want this club to be consistent. I want all that money out there, every penny we spent, to be, show through and show why everything's going on. And listen, Alex from Mississippi is right. This is why I hired Pellegrini. Pellegrini is on the hot seat this year. I think this year he shows us what he can do with a club of people that he really believes in. I think West Ham United finishes in the top 6, and I'm okay if I'm wrong. But you know what? So let me ask you all a quick question. This is yes, no. Tony, are you afraid of relegation this year?
No.
Jeremiah, relegation this year?
No.
Justin, relegation this year?
No.
Nick?
Nope.
So I don't think any of us are worried about relegation. So that was my goal last year. We weren't worried about relegation, and we finished 10th. This year, I think we move up. I'm going to do a round table here. I'm going to go a slightly different route. Jeremiah, anything you want to say last?
Dude, I think it's just time. We're ready to get back to the season, ready to get it going. I think West Ham fans as a whole, old, new, live in England, don't live in England. We got to get behind the club, man, and be ready for it. I think the negativity, let's stop that crap. Let's get it out of the way right now. Let's just get behind the club and let's just do it. I'm going to get some hate on that. I know this.
Hey, here's what we have to say to the haters, okay? Justin, last words out.
Yeah, I mean, echo what Jeremiah says. Let's get behind the club. Let's see what this team can do. I'm really excited. I've never been as excited as a West Ham fan as I am now. And it's also just been a pleasure talking with you guys too. I've had a lot of fun doing this stuff, and long may it continue. It's been super awesome.
Geez, that almost sounds like goodbye. Are you dying or something, buddy?
Long may it continue.
Tony, last words out.
Last words. I wanted to repeat one more thing that I thought Dave Thornton. Was it Dave Thornton who said it? Either way, he said, we had a big club mentality against the big clubs, and we need to treat the crap games the same. So my previous rant, I thought, was the ending here. So I'm just going to reiterate that. Dave, I completely agree. We took we played some big teams massive this season. That Liverpool game sticks out to me that we got cheated for, but even though we came back and equalized, we played some big games this season, and quite frankly, we shit the bed against terrible teams. So we win the games we're supposed to, and we have a good season, and we proved me wrong. I said 8th. I want 5th. I want 4th. I want John Black's 3rd. So I hope we do well, but, win the game.
Nick Stamper, the birthday boy. What are you, 12, 13 years old now? By the way, Lena says she has kisses for you in Vegas. Yeah. Anyways, Nick Stamper, take us out. What's your thoughts?
I'm psyched, and I think my two things are, if you can, go to Vegas. If you also can, come watch a game in New York. We're always welcome, welcoming new folk to come hang out at Smithfield. So come see us sometime.
All right, guys. I'm going to ask these hooligans to hang around with me for 2 seconds because they were awesome tonight. Everybody out in the in YouTube land and the Twitterverse and on chat, thanks so much for participating. Watch this. Hey, if you haven't signed up for Vegas, you want to go to Vegas, talk to John Black, Las Vegas, West Ham. We got Baz Cox, who is the man there, and some X and Dave guy, whatever they are. We got Baz. That's all that matters. Guys, hey, thanks a lot. And everybody, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.